Hello and welcome to Simple Country Place. I have 4 easy, realistic dinner ideas for you today. Thank you so much for clicking on this video and watching. Please subscribe and come back for future videos. Welcome and enjoy. So this day I wasn't actually going to be home for dinner. I was meeting my sister. It was her birthday, so I was meaning to take her out for dinner in a town 45 minutes away. So I put this in the crock pot for my husband and nephew for them when they got off work in the morning before I left. So I have a pork roast in there. I added garlic powder, beef broth, base, like the powder, and pepper. And then I just have some diced up potatoes, onions, and then I always have carrots and celery frozen in the freezer for situations like this. Added that in. For the potatoes and veggies, I put on some Lowry seasoned salt, garlic powder, and black pepper and parsley, and I just mixed that all together and I did throw in probably 3/4 of a cup or so of water and mix that all in, threw it on the crock pot low and slow for it was probably 8 hours by the time my husband got home. And yeah, this is a classic. I feel like every person that has a crock pot has made this at least once. And my husband always loves it and can't get much easier than this. And he was actually nice enough to remember to take a picture. I told him, I was like, I know it's weird, but will you take a picture before you eat? So there it is. You can see his Pepsi can in the background. This night I made what I call chicken Phillies and homemade French fries. So I'm starting with the French fries. I had actually had these sitting in cold water for an hour. It helps remove the starch, and then you want to obviously drain them and then dry them off really, really well. Try and get as much moisture out as you can. And I drizzled some olive oil on there, and we'll be putting them on a sheet pan and just adding salt and pepper. I threw these in the oven first because we like them super crispy, so they take longer. And I did take them out and rotate them probably 3 times or 3 or 4 times, mix them around, so all the sides get crispy, not just one. For the chicken Phillies, I have some cut up, cubed up chicken breast that I obviously sauteed, and then once it was mostly done, I put in bell pepper and onion, and I did season the chicken with salt and pepper, and let that cook together for a little bit. And then I have some actually hot dog buns there, and that cheese dip, I think it was from Aldi, but you can use I use any spreadable cheese, but if that's too much cheese for you, you can also just use plain Jane butter or I don't know, something else, mayo maybe, I don't know, I think hot mayonnaise is weird, but anyways, put that on as the dressing, quote unquote, and then I will be putting the chicken and onion and bell pepper mixture on top of that. And then cheese on top of that, and I've used any type of sliced cheese I had. Today it happened to be Munster, and I put 2 slices on that, and then I put this whole thing in the oven for the cheese to melt. And once the cheese is melted, I do turn the broiler on low for like just a minute or 2. Otherwise, I mean, I've made the mistake before forgetting about the broiler situation, and it turns out it can go south very quickly. But this, I've made this meal before, and my husband always really likes it. Nephew tried it, even with the peppers that he thought were going to be spicy. He really liked it. He really liked the French fries too. He quote said, "That meal was bussin'." And I was like, I don't know what that means. But he's a young kid, and apparently that means good, so. On this day, I made like a homemade, or not homemade, like a pizza pasta bake situation. So I have an onion that I am going to be, an onion, and I'm going to add some garlic, just sauteing that up a little bit, just for some extra flavor for the sauce. To that, I added that jar of pizza sauce, and then I always put some water in, shake it around, dump the water in. And then for some extra seasonings, I added Italian seasoning and basil. I went a little heavy. I mean, it was good, but it seems like I added a lot of basil, but I had like after I put some in, I only had like a smidge left, and I was like, I don't know, I'm weird about leaving just small bits of things. So I just added the rest of what I had. But like I said, it turned out fine. It wasn't too basil-y. And let that cook for a little bit. In the meantime, I do have some pasta cooking. You can really use any type of pasta you like. We're fans of angel hair, so that is what I had. That's what I made, but I made it with like penne before. I mean, I really don't discriminate against pastas. They're all good. So I have the cooked angel hair, and I'm adding the sauce to that. I'm gonna mix that around, obviously. And then going to be putting that in that sprayed baking dish I have there. This is honestly, I mean, I'm sure there's a recipe out like this, but it's like a lasagna. So I'm layering the noodles and sauce mixture on the bottom. And then I will be putting, since it's pizza, you can use any pizza topping you like. My husband's favorite is just plain Jane pepperoni. So I'm going to be putting a layer of pepperonis on there, and then mozzarella cheese and Parmesan cheese. and then a second layer of all that jazz again. And for the second layer, I'm pretty sure, yeah, I did like put it in a different order. I put the mozzarella cheese down first, then the pepperonis, and then the Parmesan on top of that, because I wanted it to look like a pizza with the pepperonis showing when it came out of the oven. And then I sprayed the covering that I'm gonna put on there, and covered it with, just so it didn't like stick to, I usually do that when there's like cheesy stuff on top, just, I don't know, I'm paranoid about things sticking. Covered it and then put it in the oven and let that bake for a while, and then I did probably like 15 minutes or so, and then I did uncover it and bake it for another like 10 minutes to get the top nice and golden looking. And I just served this with a side salad. Both of the guys, my nephew and my husband, loved this. Between the two of them, they ate that entire pan. So that means it's a hit. And on this day, I'm making a ham and garlic cheesy mashed potatoes. So for that ham glaze or something, if you will, I am heating up some honey, mustard, brown sugar, and apple cider vinegar. And just heating it up enough so all of those things can like melt together. And every time I like make ham, sometimes I make it in the oven or crock pot or whatever, I usually put like some sort of glaze or something on it. And I make it different every time, really. I just, whatever I'm feeling like that day. If I'm feeling jazzy to try something new, or knowing the flavors that I know go well with ham, sticking to that. Sometimes I'll put like pineapple juice or crushed pineapple. That's always good. So once that glaze situation sauce mixture just melted all together, I'm just dumping that over the ham, covering this, and then putting it in my oven to heat up, and that is easy peasy and done. For the garlic cheesy mashed potatoes, I'm putting some butter in, and then some cooked potatoes. I always put the butter in the bottom so the hot potatoes help it melt. And then we'll be mashing that up. And to that, I am adding half and half garlic powder, parsley, and pepper, and a lot of shredded cheese. And again, I just usually use whatever cheese I have on hand. Today it was Colby Jack. And then sometimes I'll put this like very, very low on the stove, or sometimes like this day the ham was still in the oven. So I just stuck this in the oven. The cheese usually melts just from like the heat of the cooked potatoes anyway, but since the ham was still cooking, I just threw it in the oven and the cheese got nice and melty. And I like very, very rarely do I peel potatoes. I don't, personally, I like skins. Husband doesn't mind them, and they're the best part, healthiest part of the potato for you. Super easy, served it with broccoli, and it was a hit. Thank you so much for watching. Please come back for future videos.